Peace, family. We are back. Knicks and bruises. Tony Crows, Queen Steph, Uncle Fulio, Your Blackest Time. Thank you guys for joining me. We got some breaking news today. Thibs came out on his presser and said Kemba is out the rotation. Burks is gonna be starting, and definitely took me by surprise. Wasn't expecting it. Um, so my take is pretty much on Tibbs making an adjustment relatively early in the season, something that he didn't do until late into the first round series in the playoffs last year. So kudos to him. He's still adjusting his coaching style, still breaking habits and things that he's not accustomed to doing, and I think that's big. Um, but yeah, we're gonna cover this whole aspect, and you're gonna be hearing it from us all day. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm glad I got to lead the charge, I guess. But I'll let you guys step in and give your quick thoughts, and I'll give mine.
I'll go first. What's up, Tone? What's up, Queen? Knicks and bruises. What's going on? Obviously, a big day. This is probably the biggest news of the season so far. 20 games into the season. This is like a good, I guess, like checkpoint of the season. And, typically that's what happens for NBA teams during the season. They wait till the 10, 20 game mark before they do something drastic. And this move was drastic today. Obviously didn't expect Tibbs to make this move, but he did. And I think it's going to be a temporary try to fix for the point guard position. But I think overall, I would have to say the Knicks still are searching for their long-term point guard. We don't know who that is yet. We thought Kemba would be, someone that would have a bigger role on this team, and that's proved to not be the case. So we're still searching for our point guard. Queen?
That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I talked about earlier in the season that I could see Kemba becoming situational. And this is, what it is. I was reading on, I forgot who it was who said that with Kemba in the lineup, the Knicks are without of the lineup, in terms of possessions, the Knicks are number one in defensive rating at 99.0. And even offensively, they're better when he's not in the game. And I was kind of surprised with that stat as well. Listen, I don't think Burke is the answer long term, but I think as defensively, he's a better fit. He's a better fit for this team, and I think he wanted to keep IQ and Obi together in that second unit, which is probably why IQ isn't starting. And I think we're going to be better.
Yeah. Um, let's give Ron a few minutes. He looked like he's loading in, but salute to Ron, still Knicks fans. Yeah, this is I'm gonna say the biggest bruise of the season as far as for Kimba. Um, but good thing, he is not as a disruptor.
Mm-hmm.
He's known as a genuinely nice guy, good teammate. Um, so I don't see this becoming any type of a controversy. Shout out to Josh. um, but any other guy, this could have been, a problem, a story, a distraction. Salute Ron, thanks for joining. Shout out to the chat as well. Steve, I see you. Danny, Sima. Um, but yeah, I don't think this is gonna be a problem long term as far as like Kimber's attitude and how he reacts to it.
Right.
But it does say a lot to go from starting to situational, especially with Rose still being questionable to even
Right.
play. So
Wow.
so that right there, you know, that's a very strong move on Tip's part. Um, I mean, I'm not here to argue it, but if I wanted to, I could argue that it's a questionable move. But you know,
As far as timing or overall?
just jumping from starter to rotational with Rose being out. You know what I mean? Like with Rose being out or possibly out, that you would think Kemba's gonna just move one notch back, but to move him two notches back, and then the potential of even Grimes stepping in and getting minutes in the rotation. I mean, he's been in the rotation the past couple day games, low minutes, but still, I think that says something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And
no
and
doubt.
if we look at Tibbs of the past, when you become situational, it's very hard to get back out. Like you might be the first guy up to get out, but it's hard to get out. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Ron speak. Thanks for joining me, Ron. And
Uh,
again, shout out to the champ, Andy, International Andy. I see you.
well, first off, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, this is part of the reason why I don't jump on when I'm at work. When I do have some free time, is because the connection here, for whatever reason, is not too good. But I'm glad it's working now. Salute to Tony. Thank you for having me. Salute to Steph and Josh,
Appreciate you.
always. Yeah, this is funny to me because I didn't expect this to happen. I couldn't see this coming. I know we've been talking about it. Steph has mentioned it numerous times in the past. Sim brought it up the other day, and we talked about it, and he was like, "So, what's going to happen with Kemba?" I talked about it. And he mentioned the whole thing about if we put Kemba on the bench, then you might have a lineup of quickly Kemba and Rose, and that can't happen. So I just never expected him to be out of the rotation. This is wild to me. So it's the right move. It's the right thing to do. And it goes back to the whole thing, like regardless of him
Yeah.
being the New York's household name and all this stuff, the Cinderella story. It's what's best for the team. You got to do what's right, and I'm actually surprised that Tibbs pulled the trigger. Now, this may not mean that it's going to be for the long haul. This may be just what he's experimenting with right now, see how good the Knicks start to play. But if they play good and they start to take off, then it's adios Kemba. I'll tell you that.
Well, he made the decision based on who they are offensively and who they are defensively when he's on the court. So I'm not sure if it's reversible unless there's injuries. You
Hmm.
know, while you guys are talking, I'll try to pull up the tweet, but you guys may have seen it already in terms of what our offensive and defensive rating is. Um, I didn't even know. I didn't even think it was that bad. But basically, we would be number. Okay, a statistical summary. This is Fred Katz. He's respectable? I believe.
Yeah,
A
he is.
Yeah,
statistical
yeah.
summary of why the Knicks are pulling Kemba Walker from the rotation. Knicks have the best defense in the league when he's on the bench, 99.0 defensive rating, and are dead last, 116.3 when he's on the floor. They are 27th in offense with him playing and ninth with him off. So you can't even say, well, at least he's, giving you something offensively to offset the defense.
That's a negative 17 net rating with Kemba on the floor.
Mm.
Negative 17. So that says a lot. And I think when as far as Tibbs, I know Tone, you mentioned it, from the outset, Tibbs adjusting his coaching style. This seems to me like all analytics to me. This is all analytics. I think Tibbs was looking at the numbers, and of course the eye test is out there, obviously, and the fans are going to talk about it, but the numbers don't lie. And I think the Knicks haven't been a good team with Kemba Walker on the floor. We talk a lot about Julius. We talk a lot about these other guys, or specifically Julius hogging the basketball and being an isolation player and people being ball dominant. Kemba Walker was brought in here to take the ball, take the pressure away from Julius a little bit, and he just hasn't been able to do so, whether it be for his poor play or whether him just being too nice if I got to do so. So I just think it was, a move that had to be made. My only question is, can Alec Burks be able to hold the fort? That's my question, and I'm just unsure about that right now. I don't think he's a point guard.
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if he doesn't have to do it long term. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say Rose wouldn't have got that opportunity had he been available? Um, so we don't know if that might be the next flip flop.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I agree that it's gonna be hard for him to get back in. and that's the crazy thing. And Ron, you said bye Kimba. That's the other thing. I don't know if you it's even a bye Kimba situation because if he fallen to a situational player in this rotation, I don't think he's gonna have trade value. Um, even at the reasonable contract that we all agreed was a steal. Um, so at that point he becomes trade filler. He becomes $9 million of cap space of cap that you could include in a trade, but he's not
Hmm.
going to be the highlight of the trade. It's still going to be one of these guys that at this point I think we rather keep. We rather hold on to.
Well, Tone, they can cut him. Knicks can flat out just cut him and open up a roster spot. I mean, for
I
$9 million,
mean,
I think they'd be willing to eat the money.
eat 9 million to bring someone in on a minimum, pretty much, because it's not like you could spend that same money. I mean, if it's the right guy, sure.
I mean, I
Is
would
But
cut.
9
remember,
million
you're
next year
cutting
too?
2 years worth of salary as well.
Is it two
So
years guaranteed?
I
Yeah, I
believe
believe
so.
so.
Well,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Knicks would be willing to do that at this point, just to give him another chance, give him an opportunity. I
Mm,
mean, who knows? The Knicks might even agree to a buyout with him, just so he can go find somewhere else to play. I mean, I
mm.
think those options are still on the table as well. But I do agree with Thibs in the simple fact that if you take Kemba out the starting rotation, I don't see him becoming situational. I just don't see it for the reasons on the floor with the three small guards, and just for I just feel like Kemba Walker can't be a situational type of guy. I feel like he's a starter. I mean, he's still a starter in this league, and he can go contribute somewhere else. But situational, I think now is the time for Grimes and McBride to get some of those minutes. So I agree with Tibbs
I
on
don't
that.
think McBride is going to get any minutes. There's something he's not showing in practice. I'm sure it's not something defensively, but he's not. I don't think he's gained the trust of Tom Thibodeau. I think Grimes has. So either Tibbs is gonna um, shorten the rotation and go at 9, or Grimes is gonna get minutes.
I think Grimes is definitely in because even what Tibbs has said about going with Burks rather than a quickly at this point is the size. You know what I mean? And Grimes has that as well. I think that's more of
Right.
a factor of holding McBride back at this point than maybe what he's showing on the floor because we have this is the first time that you could make an argument that all right we could have used McBride as far as like jumping rotation because guys are out. You know what I
Right.
mean? But McBride has made his initial appearances based off of necessity. That somebody in his position or a position he could fill it was out. You know what I mean? So
I think it's even more than that, Tony. It was almost garbage time
well, yeah,
when
that too.
McBride came in. He was using Berg, IQ, you know.
I mean, yeah, I well, that's I mean, McBride hasn't had that opportunity
Right.
until like now would be the first time that you could argue that all right, we got a point guard out the rotation, a point guard out. Like, let's
Right.
see what we could do. This is the first time, but I
Right.
think it's gonna be hard for him, because you can't put a rookie up over Kimber as well to put what I mean to pour gasoline on the fire.
I think he
Like,
already did by putting Grimes in the rotation. He already
but that's a
did.
different position.
Different
You know what I'm
position.
saying? Like it is
Yeah.
as a veteran point guard, you're not gonna look at that. You're gonna look at the guy that's taking minutes away from you. Because Kimba, you're not gonna put him at the two. You know what I mean? So that doesn't affect him anything that goes on other than that one spot. But yeah, this was definitely a shock. And I mean, I guess my next question to you guys is how long do you think this lasts? I mean, Ron touched on it. He thinks it's bye Kimba. So, and Josh, I think you touched on it as well. That you think cut him, trade him, whatever, open a roster spot. So I guess I'll start with Queen, and then if you guys want to elaborate, you sure can.
The question is, what happens to Kemba?
Do you think this is long
I think that's
long term,
no. Yeah,
permanent?
absolutely. I think it's the end of the road for Kemba. I think
Mm.
if they don't release him, if they don't buy him out, Um, he's going to be super situational, um, and that means that means like if some like if we need enough players to field the team, right? Like I think you need 8. Um, yeah, I think that's the case, and I think the Burke at point guard is only going to be until either Rose returns or if he's adamant about keeping Rose in the second unit until we trade for a point guard.
You
I
got
just don't see that being our long term solution.
you guys think? I mean, shout out to Be Civilized. He says, a trade is brewing behind the scenes, and me personally, I think that's the most likely option.
Yeah,
Um, More than cutting him or you know leaving him. I mean, even leaving him situational, I think is more of an option than just cutting him or buying him out. I got a quick question. If they do buy him out, the money saved becomes available as cap space?
So no, I just looked at his contract. So his $18 million or whatever was fully guaranteed when they signed him. So it was only 2 years. So it's this year and next year.
Next year.
So if they buy him out, they can probably stretch him. They can do that, or they can, just take them the dead cap hit this year and next year. So they'll have to eat the money regardless. So a trade will probably be their best option, best case scenario for the Knicks. But I don't see Rondo. I don't see Kemba sticking around on this roster this season. I just don't. I think
wow,
the Knicks are gonna find some way to move him, and I think they can afford to eat the money. I really think so.
wow. What do you
Mm.
think about Burke? You think Burke is the long term? So by long term, I mean the rest of the season. Do you think that? Well, let me just say this. I think the way Quickly has been playing, I think he can man that second unit, and I think Rose can go into the
Mhm.
first unit when he comes back, and Burke can go back into the into the second unit. I just don't see Burke being a point guard for the rest of the season, but I mean it's possible,
I
I,
agree with that.
I see it as pretty likely. Um,
right?
I mean, granted, this is a big change on Tibbs' part, but he likes stability as well. Like we know that. So the longer Burks plays in the starting unit, the longer I think it becomes solidified. You know what I mean? Like so, if he does 5 games straight, I don't see it changing. Especially if the outcome is 3-2 or better. I don't see it. I don't see it switching again. I think you tweeted this stuff, so I do want to credit you if it was you. Um, but I read someone said they think Tibbs likes Quickly with Obi and their chemistry, and I think that's a big reason why he would end up staying. Definitely not moving into the starting lineup. Um, but manning it, I agree. I think he's showed enough so far. But I also like Rose in his role too. So I wouldn't mind Burks staying in this position. It also gives Randall the chance to really play that point forward role that he seems to love, and I think he thrives at. I think he's still getting better at. Um, the ball movement last game, maybe last 2 games. No, last game definitely was excellent.
But
Um,
did you notice though that a lot of it was other people were facilitating the offense, would bring the ball down the court, and Randall would go right to weak side. Um, I just think with Rose, and I don't even think I'm not sure if Randall would allow it. I just think with Rose at the point, I think Randall would be just much more efficient if he wasn't facilitating the offense. I think he has to process too much. He has to think too much to do that.
mhm,
And don't get me wrong, and I'm gonna make this point again on Queen's Court. I think Randall should be taking the most shots on this team. I think he's our best player. And so when I talk about him not facilitating the offense, in no means do I mean that he should not be the focal point of the offense. I
mhm,
think he should be. I just want somebody else making the decisions, getting him the ball in his spots where all he has to do is focus on scoring. And obviously, if you double team, of course, that's how you play the
mhm.
game. You pass it, but not focusing on how do I get other people involved. I just don't think his processing speed is that fast. And I think if he lets go of that responsibility, he'll be much more efficient. And I think that helps him and us as a team.
Do
That's the
you,
only reason I want Rose in the starting lineup.
Do you think he's been doing that because we've been struggling offensively?
I just think he's
Because
doing it because that's just him. That's just he
well,
just sees himself in that role.
I don't know. I think this year in particular, so far these 20 games, maybe 11, 12 of them, it felt like he was trying to facilitate more than more
No
than
doubt
ever
about it.
to me. Like I
No,
think he was trying to get guys going, like, and
absolutely.
not necessarily looking for his.
I agree with you. But I
Um,
just don't think we're a better team. I think we're a better team when he's scoring. I think he would even be better if he
I
wasn't.
mean, I agree with you basically,
Yeah.
because
But I don't think he's selfish by any
you're still
stretch.
saying make the right reads, because he's gonna get doubled. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
Right.
now he's kind of like
Right.
almost waiting for the double, and instead of just making the quick decisions and things of that nature. I agree.
Well,
What do you think?
you know
I
what's
go ahead. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, you know what's interesting that if with the timing of Tibbs making this move to take Kemba out of the rotation, um, I just don't understand. You're already removing one of your guards. Then I looked at the injury report and it said for some reason RJ is questionable for Tuesday's game,
Mm.
which still can mean he'll play. But if he's out, and you already know Rose is already officially out still for Tuesday's game, so that would be Rose out, RJ out, Kemba rotational, and then you send Deuce to the G League. Unless like this is just maybe the G League has a game today, they want him to play, and then they'll bring him back up tomorrow. But it seems kind of questionable because you're going to be shorthanded at a position.
Yeah, but I, it's not questionable because it's Deuce. Like Kimba at this point, he's not saying he's not playing. You know what I mean? So if like Kimba could still play, Deuce is the guy that, like, keeping Deuce, and even if Deuce got in before Kimba, I think that would be crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
at this point in like, then you start talking about, all right, Kimba has kind of a right to, you know what I mean, let off some steam, or be a little upset. You know what I mean? Like, because now you dropping literally to, I don't even, that's beyond, what'd you call it, super situational.
Super
like
situational.
like
But
like, like
Yeah.
That's no situation.
yeah,
what
that's
I
no
will say is
situation.
though,
Yeah.
he may go with McBride if he's looking for defense. It would only be for a few minutes. And so if he's looking for defense, and they were short and he went to McBride over Kemba, would you still think it was a diss?
I mean, we would, at that point we would probably be down a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and being abused at that position. You know what I mean? Like, that means Quickly's not playing as good as Diaz he's been showing lately. That
Mhm.
means Rose is out, obviously. That means Burks is getting killed, and then at this point, yeah, he's known for his defense. His defense is good, but he's also still undersized. So I mean, I just think it's yeah, I would think it would be an insult to Kimba 100%.
So I'm gonna respond to a couple things you said, Tony, and then what you said, Ron. But first to Ron. So the 20 game thing, that announcement that was made, I think that's separate from the injury report. I think the Knicks were, probably going to be planning this at probably the last 5 games or so. They've seen that 20 game mark coming up, and they say, okay, at the 20 game mark, whether we win or lose, we're going to go ahead and make this move because the Knicks are coming off a
Hmm.
win, right? So I think that's separate from, whether Rose is not playing, whether RJ is not playing. The second thing that I want to say, and this goes to Tony's point, is that, Tony, I disagree with you on the fact that Kemba would feel some type of way, right? I think it would be the opposite. I think Kemba, at this point in his career, he's gonna want to start, right? I think he's gonna want to start, and that he may feel that, instead of me starting, you might as well just take me out the rotation altogether. I'm not gonna play situational. I'm not gonna play these minutes here and there. Not as a diss to the team, but himself feeling like he still has some more left in the tank. He's probably gonna feel like, I would rather start. Look at John Wall. John Wall's doing the same thing with Houston right now. You got Carmelo years ago saying, I'm not coming off the bench. Even Westbrook right now in LA. These players that, they don't want to come off the bench. They want to start. So that's why I think that Thibodeau said what he said about, taking Kemba Walker completely out the rotation period. And I think it was something that Kemba probably agreed to. He said, I'm not going to start. You might as well just not play me. Let me get healthy, and then probably ship me somewhere else, or buy me out. Let's work on that.
But your argument would say that he wouldn't want to if Thibs said Rose is starting, Kemba you run in the second unit, that Kemba would be opposed to that.
I think he would be. I think because I think that Kemba still wants to start in the NBA. I really do.
I disagree with that. I mean I don't see. I think knowing Kemba, the type of player he is, the type of person he is, I think he would have taken the role as the reserve. I think he's okay with situational, depending on how that was explained to him. Like, this is not forever. But now, if you talk about situational and the rookie point guard who literally hasn't really played this year is jumping in front of me in a situational rotation, like I think at that point it becomes.
I'm pretty sure.
They're different players,
Thibodeau.
though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Thibodeau spoke to him already. I'm pretty sure this was
yeah.
already spoken about, and the team came to a mutual agreement with Kemba. I don't think it was Thibodeau just making this decision all by himself. I think this was properly thought through, and I think that Kemba was just a part of this process as anyone else. And I think we're going to hear about it. Once after the game, Kemba's going to get interviewed, and I think he'll say the same things. I think this is an amicable situation.
Well, I heard a little bit of the press conference with Thibs, and I didn't get the sense that they had a conference, but I got the sense that he talked to him about his decision, and why he was making the decision, and that I mean, what can Kemba say? What can he say? He said we got to do what's best for the team.
Yeah, but
I just thought it would be a nice opportunity.
The fact that Thibs said, I see him as a starter, I think that is a big statement in itself. So that's why I do believe something has to be on the horizon. I don't think this can be long term. Especially situational. You know what I mean? Like at that point, I think you got to move him. You got to include him in a trade. Use that salary as filler. But yeah, I think something's on the horizon. The longer this lasts, the more likely he's gone for good. It was an experiment. What were you saying, Ron?
No, I was just saying I just thought it'd be a nice one-off, a nice opportunity if RJ wasn't playing, for Deuce to get some impactful minutes out there, so that at least Thibs could take a good look at him out there on the court in a meaningful game. If it was just for one night, it's one night. However, the other thing is that Taj is questionable, but he could be back for Tuesday's game. And the lineups, all the mixed matches that we can do, it may not even matter that we're short RJ at the guard position, because Knicks can change the way they play, and we still got Burks, Grimes, Quickly, and Fournier. There's still options out there, so it's not that big of a deal. I was looking for an opportunity to see a little bit more of Deuce in a meaningful game, because we just haven't seen enough of him. And I'm not saying we should, but if you're already starting to kind of show some of the youth that we got because of whatever injuries, it'd be nice. Deuce seems to always be the odd man out, which kind of points to maybe what Steph says. Maybe in practice, Thibs is seeing what we need to see on the defensive end, but the offensive end, he doesn't look like he has a good grasp of the offense or control of orchestrating or something. Maybe he's a little lost out there.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I just think it's gonna be hard for him to crack. You know what I mean? Like, his minutes are gonna be blowouts and one way or the other, us down or us up. And sometimes Thibs is reluctant to even mess around when we when we got the lead or when we down, because he feel like we could still come back, or he feel like we could still blow it. So it's gonna be real tough for him. But I do want to talk real quick. I missed the last couple of streams with MBK, but I'm sure you guys probably spoke on it. But this youth lineup, this 2023 and under lineup, Um, and that's that's what I mean. Like we have a solidified youth lineup that we could run, and Deuces outside of that. You know what I mean? So like, but what do you guys think of that young lineup? I mean, you could throw Mitch in there, but we've seen it with Jericho now. Obi, Quick, RJ, and Grimes.
Can I go
Oh
first?
man, that's the future right there.
Oh my God. Okay.
Here we go,
Uh,
Steph. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh wait, I hit a trigger.
Mhm.
I don't know. Well,
All right, hold your thought.
can I
Let me
go
get my
first?
voice cords ready so I can go after Ron.
Uh-oh. Well, let me just say, look, that lineup out there was incredible. I thought this is what we had been missing all year. I think Jericho should be in the starting lineup. I think you got to get Mitch out of there. I think no, I'm just playing. That's what the Nick community is saying. I'm messing around.
Yo,
I'm like, wow.
Nah, hold on. No, no, I was really excited to see them out there. I think we saw a great look at kind of what Jericho can be when he starts to apply himself and feels a little comfortable out there. Of course, he can get a lot better, but this was the best I've seen Jericho since he's been a Nick. Of course, we haven't seen much of him, but even in the preseason, he wasn't playing like this. I mean, he had some blocks. I don't think even in the time he played in the preseason, I don't know if he had one block because that was kind of one of the things I was looking at with his game. His has a big body. He's quick. He jumps. He can definitely be a presence, but he wasn't blocking shots. He just wasn't getting to them. So it was
he had
really
a
nice to
couple
see him.
blocks.
Did he? Okay, well I
He
must have
did,
missed it.
but he also started to foul on his block attempts.
Ah,
Um,
okay. That maybe that's
but
what I was seeing. So yeah, but he definitely he looked really good. I think the offense was. I mean, that's the whole thing about these young guys, man. They're up and down the floor as a unit. They were all, getting up on their men. They weren't, they were playing really good defense. Grimes was just incredible. Even if his shot, I think he hit maybe 1 3, but his shot wasn't, really. He didn't get a lot of opportunities to score. But the defensive end, I think, was the biggest piece that we saw from him, and he really looks good on defense. Just the movement and the way he talks out there on the court too. Because I know one thing you notice with these Knicks teams, we don't got a lot of talkers on defense, and usually the really good defensive teams, even though the Knicks were good last year, but Bullock used to talk, Peyton would talk. So the fact that we don't have too much of that, I think that also points to sometimes where we get into some issues. There definitely should be somebody letting Randall know how many times he's getting beat, in the corner because somebody's wide open. Because I know he'd be looking for. Sometimes he'd be asking for people to talk to him because his awareness ain't that great. I don't know, but yeah, I just thought it was really nice to see them, and definitely when you have a chance for Obi to get up and down and he's got people with him, you know, you start to see the best of Obi. Um, which I forgot to mention, if we're gonna put Jericho in the starting lineup, we might as well put Obi in there and move Randall to the bench. But sorry, Nick Community, my fault. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Anyway,
you
that's all I got. I just think they looked really good out there. It was nice to see. I hope we see more of it.
Nah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Get him,
That's what.
Queen.
Yeah, I want to know how
I
about this
mean,
trigger.
listen, this is what I will say. I want to win basketball games. I want to win basketball games. And I don't think you win basketball games with a young lineup like that. Now, that being said, if you have starters that's playing well and you're bringing them in for a change of pace, that's fine. But we already have that with the second unit. We already have that with our bench unit. So, in order for those guys to play, that means that guys who have been much more successful in the league won't play. You understand? So, as much as I like Sims, well, let me make this point before I say this. Just because somebody looks good in one game doesn't mean that they can show the load game after game after game after game. I'll say
Mhm.
that number one. Um, but if we're gonna play Sims more, that means cutting Noel's minutes. That means cutting Mitch minutes. He had a good game, but is he better than Mitch right now?
Nope.
Is he better than
Nope.
Noel? You know what I mean? So we're gonna put McBride in. that means even if Kimba's out the rotation, you taking minutes away from IQ, you taking minutes away from Burke, and those guys are just better right now. So it was good to see them. It was good to see that the Knicks have draft picks that they're developing, and that down the line they can work their way into the rotation. But they have to work their way into the rotation. I'm not playing them over more established guys. I'm just not.
Agreed.
I will add. This is something Queen always says, and this is a question that she always asks. If you think the Knicks are gonna get anywhere in the playoffs by playing all these young guys, you're sadly mistaken. It's just not gonna happen. If the Knicks will be in the lottery if they have a starting lineup with all those guys out there like that. And that's just the truth.
No. Well, I don't know who says anything about a starting lineup. Like, I mean, me personally, when I say the future, I mean like literally.
No,
future.
I'm
Like
I'm talking about I'm talking about the consensus from Nick Twitter. They want to see a young lineup. That's why Ron was being facetious, because some people are actually out there saying that.
Hey,
like there's some people that would actually start Obi Toppin over Julius Randle, which I think is completely ridiculous.
They've been saying that all year long. You know what I mean? So I haven't been on Twitter in a week, to be honest. So, but they've been saying
to take
that.
A break.
Or I do it once a month because you know what I mean. It's good for you.
Yeah,
but I'll be on the phone. I'll be hitting that phone like every 2 minutes.
But as far as Jericho Sims is concerned, listen, I wanted to draft him. I think that's my guy. I'm willing to stick around and let him get some minutes. Hopefully he gets some more time, and I think it'll come because Mitch can't stay healthy, and Noel is up and down with his health or whatever. But I really like Noel on the floor. But what I will say about McBride is that I think McBride will get some time as the injuries start to happen with Rose being out. I think we're going to see some more McBride out there. It's going to be situational still. He's going to, probably going to get less than 10 minutes a game or whatever. But I think that'll be just enough to show Thibs what he can do. And I think he'll get on the floor that way. Grimes, I think as of right now, Grimes is going to be a fixture in the rotation. No question about that. I like his defense. I like his ability to shoot. And I think Thibs sees that as well. With the RJ being sick, non-COVID illness or whatever, if RJ misses the next game against Brooklyn, I expect to see some Kevin Knox out there. Not for anything meaningful, not for anything, crazy, going to get a crazy amount of minutes. But I think for that three position, that three, slash, that little tweener position right there, I think Kevin Knox will get some time in there. And hopefully he can be able to, knock some shots down and prove what he can do. And that's another body that we have in that scenario.
I agree with you 100%. I agree. Knox will probably get that time before McBride. And I know it sounds like I'm down on McBride. I'm not, but I said this when the season first started. This is the first time that we've had draft picks that we don't even got to look at. We don't even got to worry about. They'll get their time organically. They'll get to grow, learn. Like everything is solidified, and those guys are on the outside learning. And as they get opportunities with guys going down, that's the best thing for them, because now you learn. Thibs keeps telling you stay ready, and next bam, you got an opportunity. Now if you produce, it's like, you get all the love. If you don't, you still take heed because you got that opportunity. So I agree, Deuce will get an opportunity, but it's not gonna be forced on this team. It doesn't have to be forced. It's really gonna be like out of necessity, but take advantage of your minutes when you get them. That's the best thing these young guys could do at this point.
And you know what, Tone? You look around the league, rookies aren't playing. Book Night was what, 11? He's not playing. Kai Jones was 19. He's not playing. And you can go down the line on teams that are really good, other than Golden State, who has a different way of bringing their rookies along. They'll play 11. They'll play 12. They're not really playing. So what's going on with the Knicks is pretty much what's going on, with every other team. The rookies have to bide their time.
And that's part
Thibs
of
is playing rookies more than the other. Even though he has that rap, they're getting more time than others.
With the way the league has gone the past couple of years, where coming into the season, teams that were considered good teams, playoff teams, and then end up not having such good seasons, which
Right.
gave them better draft picks. You know,
Right.
and so now you getting better guys on better teams. You know what I mean? But they still gotta wait their turn. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you on a good team and you're a high draft pick, you're not gonna get that opportunity to start like a
Right.
normal 11th pick or ninth pick or whatever the case may be. And we're in that situation too with the one our young rookies from last year's took probably one of the biggest leaps of a rookie from last year to this year. I think we got two of them that did that, um,
Right.
which is somewhat unlikely. But we have a good, solid veteran group around them at every position. There's a
Right.
veteran in front of these guys,
Right.
so
Right.
I
Okay.
love it. I think we these guys get a chance to just take their time. You got 4 years under your contract. Get as good as learn as much as you can. Take advantage of every opportunity you get, and then by the time that fourth year comes, you're gonna be better, in my opinion, than a lot of these other guys that kind of got thrown to the wolves. Didn't really learn anything. Didn't have any discipline. It's that Kevin Knox syndrome. He
Hmm.
now he's learning just like these young guys. Like
Yeah, I'm
you
not
got to
sure
earn it.
about the Kevin Knox thing.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
he's got this
I
year
guess.
to figure it out at the very least.
My
But
goodness.
I mean,
Ron, you want
Yeah,
to say something?
I was gonna say, what's the big difference between a guy like Kevin Knox and Luka Samanik?
I haven't even
Couldn't if
I
you
seen
give
Luka
have no.
Kevin
Samanik.
Knox an opportunity to play in the G League, can't Kevin Knox go get busy down in the G League? Like I don't know what it.
Tibbs was
I'm.
against it though.
At this point, I think it's too
Tibbs was
late
against
for
it
that.
last year anyway.
At this point, I
I
think it's too
mean,
late.
I just feel like like you doing this kid a disservice. Like, why is he here? You don't want to play him at all. He's got height. He's got some. He gives you a piece that you don't have currently on this team. Even if you're saying he's a little, he's not a liability. He's not any more of a liability than Kemba was. He's got to be much better than Kemba is on the defensive end.
Yeah,
Just
but he
just
didn't
being able
have
to
the
move.
Kemba reputation. He didn't have the Kemba history.
Right.
Like you can't, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like that, like it was things that we thought Kemba was gonna do that was gonna make us accept a little bit lesser on a defensive end. He just didn't come in and do those things. So it's like, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to Josh's point, if RJ's out, I think Knox gets the opportunity. I agree with that. And if he doesn't, that says a lot too. You know what I mean? And then you could,
Right.
your point has more validity. You know
And
what I
But
and
mean?
what
that's
would
how
they do?
bad. No, I was gonna say real quick. That's how bad things are. I had this whole diatribe about Deuce and how we should get him. I forgot all about Knox on this team, and that's horrible.
But is that bad or is that good?
I mean, listen, I don't know. I mean, we got a lot of options, but I feel bad for Knox. Like, I'm not even thinking about this dude, and ain't nothing wrong with him. His injury report is questionable every game because he ain't out there.
Kevin Knox is questionable. Oh, he's hurt. No, you just don't know if
my,
he's
my
gonna.
question my
You just
question
don't
is
know
though,
if he's gonna
what
play.
happens, like, hypothetically, what happens if RJ is going to be out for the game? Who do the Knicks even go to at that position, especially if they're going to put Burks at the point guard?
Right.
Knox.
I think
I
I
mean, who
think it
else
has to
would it
be.
be?
I think it has to be.
Unless you put Burke at 3.
Which that's what I would do. I would put Burke at 3 and then go quickly or Rose, or just quickly, you know what I'm saying?
If
But
Rose
then
is even available, Rose may
Yeah.
not be available. That's why I think Burks got that start. Right. I think if Rose was available, Rose would have got the start, and I think quickly would have ran the point. Burks would have moved to the 2, either Grimes or Grimes at Grimes may be at the 3. You know what I mean? I think that's the way it would have been if Rose been available. That's why it's going to be interesting to know when Rose is available because he's questionable for tomorrow still. Um, how long he rides with Burks. Now,
well, I'm going to read that tweet that was sent out. I'm trying to read that tweet that was sent out that Stephon Bondi put out, like what Thibodeau said. The way he made it sound like was Alec Burks was going to be the point guard for the foreseeable future.
That's no.
He
He,
did
he
say
said
that.
he said for now.
Oh, he
As of
said
now.
for now. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't
let me pull it
foreseeable
up.
future. I
It was
mean,
for now?
you know what? Maybe I'm misquoting, but right after that is when he said, "I view him as a starter." So you know what I mean? That comment is very
So
important.
Bondi's tweet says Alec Burks is a starting point guard moving forward, according to Thibodeau. And then after that, they asked him about Kemba, and they said Kemba Walker's going to be out of the rotation. Is going to be out the rotation. So Alec Burks is a starting point guard moving forward, according to Thibodeau.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
But not. He also said it's not permanent. He definitely said that. Or they said is it permanent? He's like, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. And then I view Kemba as a starter. So to
But
me,
now
that does mean
I took that
he's
being
on the
not
move.
on this team. Right, exactly. He's
Right.
a
Yeah.
starter, but not on this team. Right.
Yeah, I think he's on the move somehow, some way. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. And even if he becomes a trade filler candidate, right? Like we're using that 9 million as a trade filler. That also means one of these young guys is moving. You know what I mean? And another 10 million at least contract.
Well, it depends on who they're going after, right?
Who's
I
coming
mean,
back? Yeah.
I don't think they go after anything but a big fish.
Oh well, if they go after big fish, a lot more is going to be on the table.
I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. But Kemba included as a
If they
9
want
million.
him though,
I mean, at that point, you the salary has to match. So like what I mean, it's always something that.
but I
you
can
don't,
see a team saying, "Nah, you're gonna have to give us something else. We don't want Kemba.
I mean,
You're gonna have to give us another draft pick. You're gonna have to give us something, a young player.
well, nobody else makes around 9. Well, I guess Knox. You could say Knox and 3 million or something.
RJ.
I think RJ's in it. Honestly, I mean,
In the
it's
conversation,
either
you mean?
RJ or it's Obi and quickly. And
Well, who are we talking about? What level of player we talking about?
I mean, a Dame. Like, I think
Oh.
if we make a move, it's got to be at point guard, right?
But do you think we need a big move or just a? It depends on if the Knicks are trying to just take a little step, or are they swinging for the fences this season?
I think.
But let me preface this by saying this: this is as wide open as the Eastern Conference is open. I mean, if you can get you a team together, you can march right to the top or be right up there.
That's why you don't want to tweak. You know what I mean? That's why if you're gonna swing, you're gonna swing. You know what I mean? Like
it's the time to swing.
And I'm not even. I'm a big Dame Lillard fan. I'm not a big fan of trading for him, but I think things are lined up for that.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like the 2 second-year players taking a big leap. You know what I mean? Like Obi's trade value, and I'm not saying trade him. Don't kill me out there. But his trade value has probably skyrocketed more than any one player, right? Between last year and this year.
Yep.
I mean,
so
but when you look at the numbers, he's averaging 8 points. I mean, he has gotten better, and when you look at his game, you can see where he has developed. But when you look at the numbers, it's 8 points.
Yeah, Steph.
Part of the numbers is the minutes too, though.
Yeah, his per 30 minutes is 18 points and 9 rebounds.
And that's
right. But does that really happen though? Does that really happen?
Yeah. That's 50-50.
Right.
Like sometimes it does.
And sometimes it doesn't. You gambling.
Sometimes some players are better when they play less minutes.
Yeah, because they get exposed with more minutes. And some players, though, break out with more minutes. Yeah. There's just no way of knowing.
And, the other thing about Obi, I mean, listen, Obi is a firecracker. And when he's out there, he's giving us his all. And sometimes he looks a little winded because he is going full throttle. I don't know exactly how effective he would be if you gave him more minutes at that level that he's playing. I mean, he's like the road runner out there. So that's
That's
not,
what
you
happened
would
with
have to,
Mitch.
right?
Mitch was the road runner.
Exactly.
Then we gave him more minutes. He couldn't sustain it.
You
Yeah,
got to learn how to pace yourself, and
yeah.
for him to pace himself, he's also got to work on other offensive moves and things of that nature to still be effective in the league.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, who said that? Fabian Williams. Trade Kemba, Fournier, Knox, and Noel for draft pick and the draft picks for John Wall, Eric Gordon. Um, I mean,
Ouch.
we just lived the experiment of Kemba at 9 million, and we're gonna do that same experiment. I mean, at
Well,
42 million.
this is what I will say.
I mean, it's a swing for the fence.
Wall is in a Wall has an injury history. So I'm not for bringing in people with injury history, but he has an injury history, but he's not dealing with a chronic knee condition, right? So when he's playing, And when I saw him play against Houston, with Houston last season, his efficiency was down. But other than that, he still had his burst. His court vision was still good. He was good. It's just that 47 million is too much. That's too much.
Here, another thing, his contract expires at the end of next year, and next year is a player option, which he most likely won't turn down because it's $47 million. He's not going to turn that down. Although Chris Paul just turned down 45, so to get another contract, a longer one. So who knows?
I mean, what's your thoughts on that move, Josh? I know you like names and you like you like.
No, I never was a fan of John Wall. I'm not a fan of the move. I just can't trust his health at this point. This dude's always been unhealthy everywhere he's gone. And I think his contract, I think that'll work itself out. The Knicks have the money. I think if we do bring him along, I think he'll opt in and take the 47 million next year. But that's just too much money on a player that's too injury prone. And if he gets bought out from Houston and we can sign him for lower money, that's a different story. That's a different story. I'm all for it.
He said he ain't taking no buyout though.
I mean, I wouldn't either. He's owed $100 million over the next 2 years.
But what's interesting? Oh man, I lost my thought. Ron, go ahead. Say what you was gonna say. While I figure out what I was thinking.
I was just gonna say that would be the one time where it's not gonna happen because he's not. That's too much money to throw away, and you can't blame the guy.
Right.
But if it did happen,
would it be a big? I mean, when they buy you out, they don't have to buy you out for half. They could just buy you out for a little discount.
Yeah, but
I don't know what Kemba got bought out for. I'm trying to figure out what Kemba got bought out for. I haven't been able to find the specifics, but I think it was less than half of what he was.
He pretty much made the money back up with the 9 million we gave him. I think he lost about 2 million a year in total.
Oh, never mind.
What he gave up and then the 9 million we so he gave up 11 and then got 9 from us.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly how that whole thing will work. If it was a way that he could get bought out and they could still pay him maybe 50% of what he was owed or something like that. I don't know, that's crazy. But if he could get that and then maybe we sign him to a veteran's minimum and then re-up him like before next season where he gets some money from us, maybe he'd be like, okay, I'll do that. And even if we're on the hook, say he gets hurt and we're only paying him maybe 10 million or 12 million per, I don't know. Like maybe that's something the Knicks would gamble with. But personally, that's the way I would buy it. Like if that buyout happened, I would definitely go bring in John Wall and then I'd buy out Kemba or release Kemba.
Right.
So
there's always the stretch provision too. The stretch provision of the contract. Same thing that we did with Joakim Noah. So we'll keep all our money on the books and then like that money just defer it. You know what I mean? Like a couple million per year, or whatever, for like the next 20 years or something.
Yeah.
If I'm making 90 million, I might go for 80. But you're not buying. I'm not going from 90 million to 45 million. Nah.
Well, that's why I'm saying, Steph.
12 million maybe because I know I could probably make that back, but I'm not giving up 50% negative. I'll sit right on the bench.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe if he was able to get bought out and the Knicks kind of covered a little bit more of that. So the whole buyout would only look like maybe he's losing 20 or 30 mil, because he's getting some from the Knicks, but he's getting the majority from them. It would have to
A
be
lot of money.
some crazy contract.
So
That's
the
a lot.
interesting thing though is if we
I gotta
made
go, fellas.
some,
It's past 5
I
o'clock. I'll
appreciate
see you
you.
guys later on. Appreciate
Yes,
you.
eight
All right.
eight or
All right.
8:30.
8:30.
8:30
We
Queens Court.
yeah, 8:30. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I see you there. The interesting thing is if you taking on a contract like that, now they can't be picky in what they ask for in return. Now
Right.
I think you could hold on to, you know, you could put that, you can make that a trade based around picks
But the
and
money,
whatever
Tone,
and
the
whatever,
money though.
yeah, and whatever salary though. But so what I'm saying is, you can hold on to those three young guys. You know what I mean, and base your trade package around matching the money and and um and draft picks. Now, if that's what we're doing, I might consider that because
I would.
you gotta give up. I mean, at this point, you would be probably believing in Sims because I think you got to give up Noel just because he makes a lot more than Mitch as well. So putting Mitch in the packet, I mean, you could do it. I know some of you are low on Mitch, but that's only $2 million in salary.
The money, right? I'm with
You
you.
know what I mean? Oh, Ron had to step out. Oh, he's at work. um, so yeah, like you throw in a Noel, that's what 9 million, 10 million.
10 million, yeah, just about 9-10 million. Yep.
I mean, you might have to do a Burks. That's 10 million. Like all those 10 million contracts that we gave out, we would probably have to give those guys up.
But Tone, for me, if I'm the Knicks, I don't even do that because that doesn't make the team better. Yeah, we fill a point guard position, but we lose everywhere else. So for the Knicks, to me, it just doesn't make sense unless they buy him out and we can get him on the free agent waiver wire or something like that. But to trade for John Wall, to me, I just don't. I don't like it. I don't think it makes sense.
I mean, I'm not a fan of it. If I'm against it for Dame, I'm definitely against it for Wall.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what's your thoughts on Dame though? Like, you're with it, right?
I think Dame is a way better player than John Wall. Obviously, I think Dame can get this team closer. I just don't know, who we can be able to give up that they would take. I know they definitely gonna want some of those picks because they don't have that many picks over the next couple of years. So we're gonna lose some draft picks. That's gone out the window.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a winning team, I don't think the fans, I don't think they care about the picks. I think they only care about the picks because they think we're gonna lose and let's keep, let's bring in the future. But I think, and again, when I say future, I mean down the line. But I think the young guys that we have at this point have shown that when they get to their peaks, they're gonna be like, we're gonna have some good young talent. You know what I mean? Like good 25-year-olds. When all these guys
I don't mind. I don't mind trading the picks either. To me, the picks are all unknown commodities. You know what I'm saying? We drafted Kevin Knox. You know what I'm saying? Now we're not even playing him. You know what I'm saying? Miles McBride right now is not getting no time, even though I feel like later on he might. But I think some of those draft picks, I would say at least 3 or 4 of them are gone. First round draft picks. I think Noel, just to try to make the money work. I think Noel is gone. I think Fournier, they might take back Fournier. And what's that? That's 30 million right there. 28, 30 million right there. And then you got to try to find another 15. So, I mean, listen,
I think you could leave 10% off, right?
Well, the Knicks are already over the salary cap right now. Right now, the Knicks are already over the salary cap.
But you only have to match up to 20%, right? I mean, up to 80%.
Right, but that's if you're under the cap. The Knicks right now are over the cap, so they can't even do that. So for the trade itself, they can match up to 20%. But coming back, they still have to be underneath the salary cap in order for them to make it work.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and then you got to start looking at RJ and people like that for the money, just to make the money work. So that's why I was a proponent of bringing in Dame during the offseason when we had the $60-something million in cap space where we can be able to plug him in right there. Boom.
So who'd you name minus RJ?
So I said Noel, Fournier, draft picks, right? So that's like 30 to 35 million right there. And then you just gotta find
throw Kemba in there right there.
or Kemba. Well, there you go.
And now you keeping that youth. You know what I mean? You making it
Yeah.
based on you know what I mean? To keep RJ, I'll give you 2 picks. You know what I mean? Like whatever you was getting minus RJ, I'll throw in 2 more picks to keep RJ.
And then you got to look at Wall's contract. Wall has a contract up until when? If his contract expires within the next 2 years, do we really want to do that? Is he going to be around long term?
If I think I don't think he would shun us if that's what you mean. I think he number one, he takes an extension if it's offered. It doesn't have to be anything ridiculously crazy, but I think at this point or at that point, after just making almost 100 million in 2 years, you're gonna want a long-term deal for stability rather than looking for like another max or anything near a max. You
Well,
know what I mean?
He has 2+1 left, right? So he has next year, the year after. Yeah, but the third one is a player option.
Yeah,
so he can opt out at that point and go that. So I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you, John. Oh, Ron, you back?
Yeah. I was just looking at John Wall. I mean, I'm still iffy about John Wall, man. That's a lot of money if we were to do something like that, even if it allows us to get some stuff off our team that we would like to move and change around. What concerns me still, which is always going to be my concern, is just his health and ability to play games. I mean, last 3 seasons, he hasn't played more than 41 games. And in this season,
you can't even judge him off that though, because as you know, this season he's sitting. Last season they sat him like at the end. It was so this was this writing was on the wall from last year. You know what I mean? It was a mutual sitting last year when they knew they were out of contention for anything. As far as like playoffs, you know what I mean, like they were better off losing games,
right?
And they mutually sat. So so his playing history the past 2 years isn't based off injury.
Well, I mean, when he's out there, he's still balling. That's the key. That's the key. He's still balling. I mean, he's averaging 20 points a game still. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it this year because I think the value of a training camp and all that, like to bring him in now you gotta. Now we're talking another 20 games of chemistry, trying to figure out where we are chemistry wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
And fitting him in and adjusting and players adjusting. But if it was talking about next, like this summer, I might explore it. I might.
Although there's still time, Tony, because even with 20 games in, it's an 82 game season this year, full season. So even if it took 20 more games for him to get well, actually, no, we're not there yet because we got to wait till at least December 15th. Yeah, it's too much time.
Yeah. Hopefully hopefully he does accept the buyout. Let's see. Let's see if we can pull off another savvy move from the front office. Shout out to the Queen though. She was definitely right. She called it on Walker from the beginning. Before he even played the game. Her concerns and say he might end up being situational, and she was spot on.
Yeah, she was. And Quiet Money too in the chat. Quiet Money has been saying, well, Quiet Money says that he's the reason why we're struggling in general. Like the whole team is struggling because of Kemba. So if the Knicks start to play better basketball now, is it because of the move of moving Kemba, or is it the changes Thibs has made overall that's helped out? See, that's a tough one now.
When you say overall, what else do you refer to?
Well, like outside of
like choosing Burks,
right? Choosing Burks, starting to play Grimes, whether it's necessity or what, but he's still giving you something valuable on the defensive end. Like this is like a trickle down effect.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's a domino. So one domino falls, other things are gonna have to fall right in place. Um, but yeah, we this is interesting. Josh should be on at what 6?
Yep, 6. I got my boy Gotta Moses and Elijah joining me. We're gonna talk about this whole Kemba thing. We're gonna keep this conversation going.
Keep the conversation going.
Yep, talk about how we rank the next 20 games in, what we like going forward, and what's next for Kemba Walker. So that should be fun. Definitely tune in on Nothing But Knicks channel, and it should be fun. Oh yeah, and I'm also premiering a new intro video on music, for everyone to see out there. So check that out. That should be real dope, y'all.
Nice.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, hey, and I just got some more breaking news real quick, Tone. I know we're all talking about Kemba Walker right now. This is kind of related, but not really. Also, the Brooklyn Nets have taken Blake Griffin out of their rotation. So 20-game mark, this might be something that's happening around the league that was already pre-planned. So yeah, Blake Griffin is out of the Nets rotation.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't care other than the fact that we play them next, but other than that, I don't care what they do over there.
All right.
But definitely interesting. One less guy that I guess we gotta you said he's out the rotation?
Completely out the rotation. So Blake started 17 games this season, and then sat the last 2 games because they put Aldridge in the starting lineup. So that means they took him completely out the rotation because just like Thibs views Kemba as a starter, they probably view Blake as a starter and can't see him being situational for that particular team. So I don't think it's
rotational.
Or rotational, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's a little weirder to me than the Kemba thing, but I haven't watched him. I don't know if he's been a liability or if if that plus minus and the analytics look the same for him. But one less guy I guess we gotta deal with, tomorrow. Ron, are you gonna be at the watch party tomorrow?
I will be there. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We SKF deep tomorrow. John will be there. My man Jose will be there.
Nice.
Yeah. So it should be pretty cool.
Nice. I'll be there in spirit, but definitely want to recommend anybody that's hasn't registered. Still time to register, or just pop up. If you're in the area. It's at Legends NYC. What time? 6:00. You're doing it.
6:00 is when it starts.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
6:00. Free admission. It's gonna be a party. I was at the last one. For the pregame season opener, and I'm sure this one is gonna be even better. They building a relationship with those guys. The food's good, the drinks are good, and MBK is good. So MBK fans. Any last words?
I just had
what you got coming?
I got a bunch of stuff to run through real quick. Just one, I'm bummed that I can't be on the Queen's Court tonight because this is one I was looking forward to, the 20-game mark. So that's a shame, but I'll be watching on the side because we actually got a film Still Knicks fans at 9. So that'll be pre-recorded, but we're going to be recording that at 9. Definitely looking forward to seeing everybody who's going to be able to show up at Legends tomorrow. That should be really cool. NBK events are always fun. It's nice to get together with everybody and just watch our Knicks and talk Knicks and have a good time. Also Wednesday will be the NBA report. We're not doing it this Thursday because the Knicks have a game this Thursday. So on Wednesday at 8:00, it'll be the NBA report. And if you haven't already done so, definitely check out my interview with your favorite content creator. This past one was with Simeon Russell of NBK, so definitely check that out. And hopefully you get some good knowledge from that. Sim is very knowledgeable, and you get to hear about his story, which I thought was incredible. About how he got started and what he's doing today and how everything comes together. It's real important, and I think if anybody wants to get into this content creator game, or you just been watching him and you always wanted to know what how he got to start, it's a real good conversation. So definitely check that out.
Yep, the Podfather. And
Yes,
you could go to him for advice.
Facts.
Right? I see what you did there, man. I see what you did there. That was nice.
But I appreciate you guys joining as always, man. Salute to you guys. Keep doing your thing. And let's keep this thing going. Josh, I'll see you tonight on Queen's Court. Everybody 6 o'clock. Tune in. Controversy, MBK, and then Queen's Court at 8:30. We keep the content flowing with this MBK fan thing. That's it. We out of here.
Run the outro, Tone.